Hey, what's good, everybody? Ryan Howard back again with a brand new vlog. So today we were going to discuss our few instances in which I believe artists should probably say no to paid projects. Yes, you didn't hear me wrong. I said I'm going to talk about instances in which artists should say no to paid projects. But before we get into any of that, you already know what we got to do. Please cue the intro. Alright, so for the first instance in which I think that artists should probably consider saying no to paid projects is when the page just honestly doesn't make sense. Like, this should be a no-brainer. You know, like DJ Quick said it best, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And that's very real for creative endeavors. If somebody is approaching you with a project and the budget just does not make sense and it doesn't align with what you've got going on, then it probably is not going to be in your best interest to take on that project. Now, I will say that there are a few instances in which there may be exceptions, like maybe you're doing it for like a nonprofit or something, or there's a learning opportunity, an intern or a bartership type deal going on. But generally, if you're going to be investing so many hours into a project and you're not getting your money's worth on it, and it's really not building any type of credibility or helping you develop your portfolio, it's probably going to be in your best interest to just say no thank you and move on to the next project. All right, so another instance in which I think that artists should probably say no to working on projects is whenever the client that they're working with is not cool. And when I say not cool, I mean like potentially rude, disrespectful, anything like that. Like, I understand that as a creative or as a business person that there is a certain level of professionalism that we should possess and we should be able to deal with difficult clients, but there are some instances in which working with these type of personalities is just going to be completely counterproductive and the needs of this client is not going to be met. And sometimes you just have to be able to assess the situation and just kind of peacefully and professionally walk away from that to save a lot of headaches, time, effort, and money. So that's something to consider. A way that you can kind of alleviate this, a lot of times before I even start working with clients, I try to have like a little sit down with them or I chop it up with them on the phone to kind of get a feel of where they are. And sometimes you just have to go ahead and test it out by working on an initial project their first time, and after you work with them the first time, you have a good enough of an idea of whether this is a client that you're gonna want to decide to work with in the future, and then you can kind of make an educated decision. But that is something I would strongly encourage all of my other creative friends that do freelance work to consider before taking on projects with certain clients. All right, so another instance in which I believe that it is going to be potentially advantageous for creative professionals and artists to professionally decline working on a project is whenever that project does not align with your creative vision, your personal brand, or your personal beliefs. All right, so some of the best advice that I've ever gotten from one of my mentors was don't ever waste your time working on a project that you're not going to be proud enough to put on your portfolio. And this is so real. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know for me personally, whenever I've kind of compromised and taken on a project that I didn't necessarily believe in or wasn't invested in because I was chasing money, I was never truly able to put 110% of myself and my best effort into that project. And I believe that it showed when the end product came around. And that's something that I think artists should really consider when taking on a project. You don't want to put out any type of work that's going to dilute your name, brand, or your reputation. Whenever you work on a project, you want to make sure that it's something that you can fully believe in and give 110% to. And the way that I think that you're going to be able to do that, again, is by taking on projects that align with your creative vision, something that aligns with your personal beliefs, and something that you can just go all in on, so consider that. All right, so another instance in which I believe that it's going to benefit artists to be able to like professionally decline working on a paid project is when you don't have the capacity to take on more work. Now, I've got to admit, I'm really guilty of this. There have been instances in which I've been up to my eyeballs in freelance projects and I'll get approached about another project and I'm like, yeah, I can do it, knowing full well that I'm already stressed out and at my max, and I still take it on anyway because I'm thinking about making money. But these days, I really try not to do that. I would strongly advise that artists not take on too many projects at one time, because what that essentially is going to do is going to dilute the quality of your work if it's stretched so thin. And the other side of it, I don't think that that's very good for your mental or physical health to be putting yourself through taking on so many projects for an extended period of time. So that's something to consider as well. All right, so in conclusion, I know that saying no to paid projects as a creative is terrifying. It's really scary, because I don't know if you guys are like me, but as an artist, a lot of times I'm afraid that if I say no to a project, that this client is just gonna take this money and give it to somebody else, and they're never going to hire me again, or I'm missing a check or something like that by saying no. But what I personally have had to remind myself over the years is that exhibiting that type of thought process and that type of mindset is what I call scarcity mindset. What I've grown to do over the years is decide that even though I say no to that, I'm not missing out. When you develop what we call the abundance mindset, you can say no to certain projects because you always know that there's going to be something better right around the corner whenever you do that. I just want to encourage you guys to use discernment and know when to say no in certain projects, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you've said yes to a project and you start to feel resentful for it because either the pay wasn't right, or the person that you're working with wasn't cool, or it's taking a toll on you mentally and physically. So just make sure to use discernment about when you say no, and saying no is not a bad thing with projects. You don't have to take every project. You're one person. You don't have to do them all. But anyways, what do you guys think about this? Do you have difficulty saying no to projects? Do you feel like you have to take every project? What are your thoughts? Please drop me a line. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like, comment, and share. Y'all be good. Until I see you next time. Y'all take it easy.